Okay, people. Now I'm gonna give you an update on my Barbarian. I wanted to give you guys an update on the Barbarian at level 50, at level 55 or mid 50s, and then at level 60 for this Deathblow build and the legendary aspects and things that I'm also running with it to keep it optimal for how I like to play this build. So I'm gonna give you guys the aspects and things that I have up until this point. Now, I'm still working on this build, but so far, man, I've been able to solo nightmare dungeons and everything else. So I really haven't had any setbacks as far as being able to solo or complete the game or level up. It hasn't been challenging. I mean, it's been challenging, but it hasn't been like a hard grind. I could clear the dungeons and events and things with this build pretty easily. So I'm gonna give you guys what I'm running, and hopefully you can have more success with your barbarian. So here we go. I have pretty much everything I have is legendary. If I didn't find it, I imprinted it. Um, Except for maybe these boots. But I tell you everything that my armor's providing. I have cosmetics on, so my armor doesn't really look like this. If unless I hide the transmogs, my gear really looks like this. You see. So this is why we hide transmogs. I look crazy. All right, yeah, I look cool pretty much. But okay, so turn the transmogs back on. So here we go. My helmet. My helmet helps with my weapon mastery skills. The weapon mastery skills for the barbarian and for this build includes the death blow. The death blow is the skill I have from the weapon masteries tree, and the helmet allows me to have extra rank of death blow, and it also gives me additional charge. So I have two cooldowns. So I'm running that aspect. I have another aspect that allows me to create barriers. So this allows me to tank more damage. You know, I get more brawling skill damage. My brawling skills are leap. So as far as that buff, you know, my leap is increased. I have more intelligence. I have more ultimate damage, and I have damage reduction from enemies that are bleeding from 5 to 10%. So you're gonna see how that ties in as I continue to break down my aspects. So next up, I have this uh, gloves. These legendary gloves here. They give me dexterity, intelligence, and they give me 2 ranks of upheaval. This was actually a rare item that I imprinted on to get my skills back to where I wanted them to have this build be optimal for me. So with this, I have increased damage while I have barriers. But this allows me to make barriers. You see, so you see how this works out. So this deals 25% more damage while I have a barrier active. So that's why I'm using that to go with this barrier making. So also I have these pants. Now I found these rare pants. I haven't made them into a legendary item yet because I don't know when I'm gonna get something that passes their power. But I done had these pants for a few levels, so I may go ahead and imprint them. But that being said, these pants, I like these pants only because um, they give me barrier, so that also helps with this. But beyond that, they give me my potion capacity is up, so I can carry an extra 1 to 4 potions. So I'm actually carrying an extra 3. As you can see, I have 10 potions over here. Yeah, so you can get those 10 potions from your equipment, and you can also get extra potion slots from doing Renown, which is this. You see, you can see where it says 1 potion capacity. I believe each region provides you 1 extra potion, so you can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can get 5 extra potions on top of this gear that I'm wearing that allows me 3 extra potions, which helps me solo and clear out dungeons and things. So that's why I have that on. It doesn't have any aspect. I like the fact that it gives me extra potions, and I find that very helpful. Next, we have my boots. These boots reduce the cooldown of evade as I attack. I mean, they're not that great. I really like these boots because my build stuns, and I like to get that extra stun damage. As far as this aspect, I don't really use it. I just like it because these boots were strong. I get stun damage, and they were better than the boots I was rocking previously. So unless I imprint this with something that I can actually use, my boots are just boots right now for the most part. This is my most used weapon. I use my bludgeon mace or whatever a lot because I have the lunging strike, and with this mace, I do damage. I do more damage to close enemies. I do more damage while berserking. I do damage to stun enemies, and I have overpowered damage. And I actually imprinted this weapon to do flame damage. So while I'm berserking, this weapons allow me to have flame damage as I berserk and burn the enemies around me. So you know, I'm running that. That keeps me pretty optimal with that. Pretty strong weapon. Next, I have these 2 weapons here, and these weapons are they're in my arsenal just to carry legendaries. I don't actually use any skills that uses the one-handed weapons. I don't use double swing or what is it, flay or frenzy. I don't use any of those that require the single-handed weapons, but you get the buffs from the equipment. I don't know if the power matters if you're not using it, but I like to keep it up just to scale with where I am as far as my leveling or whatever, just so I don't have any old or weak gear. You know, they're always giving you updated versions of what you already using, or better skills, or just, you know, a few different skills here or there. So I have these weapons to do. This weapon gives me Thorns while berserking. I'm still not sure what Thorns do, but other than that, I get extra berserk damage, I get extra bleed damage, I get extra injured enemies damage, and I get extra strength out of this, 54 to be exact, 54. And from this weapon is where I get the attack speed. Now, I was telling y'all about this build earlier. I left out a key point in my first video. I didn't realize that the build depended so much on attack speed. So if you guys can find any aspect or anything that allows you to have that extra attack speed, you need at least 30% extra attack speed with this build. Without that, the build is too slow and you will have a hard time leveling and progressing. So make sure you guys have that attack speed that comes with this build, because if not, it will not work. I took my attack speed off to try out a new aspect, and yeah, I died for it. So yeah, I had to get that attack speed back. Also, when you're imprinting or adding aspects or things to your weapons, when you're doing that, it shows you that depending on what you equip it to, the power and the skills could be greater. I'm gonna tell you, for the Barbarian, if it could be attached to an amulet or one of the two-handed weapons, it will be the stronger version. The amulet gives it an extra 50% increase, and attaching it to a two-handed weapon gives it an extra 100% increase. So if I was able to put this attack speed on a one of my two-handed weapons, my attack speed will then double to 60%, and I will have even faster attack speed, which will lead to me being not only being able to attack quicker, but I can also get more critical strikes and things like that. So that's what I love about that, and that's what make this build optimal because of the quickness. Uh, it's a very quick mobile build. I have things that increase my moving speed and things like that, just so the barbarian can weave in and out of those situations um, as he has to. Next, I have this legendary gargoyle greatsword. With this, I do increase critical strike damage, increase damage to injures, and increase damage to crowd control enemies, plus strength. And also, if I deal damage while berserking, uh, I cause my enemies to bleed, which gives me bleed damage. I ain't really have a bleed build, but it has some bleed elements, which I feel like makes this build more optimal. Because I have bleed, I have stun, I have berserk with the fire, and what else do I have? Okay, so next, here's my jewelry and amulets. These allow me to have the extra Call of the Ancients buff. So whenever I do one of the ancient skills like leap or upheaval or what else do they do? Or something like whirlwind. One of the ancients has a almost a 50% chance of coming out as I do my move. So if I do an upheaval, they'll follow up with another upheaval. And the cool thing about this buff is that whatever your ancient comes out to do, they kind of track the enemies. So they won't just come out and attack in front of you or just miss. They will come out and look for an enemy to attack. So I think that is really dope that that it seeks and tracks enemies like that rather than just being a dumb AI or something. So that's pretty cool. I also have critical strikes with core skills. My core skills are upheaval. When I get critical strikes with that move, it increases my attack speed by 22%. So not only do I have that extra 30, when I get those critical core strikes, I get an extra 22% for 5 seconds, which makes me 35% more attack speed just off those two things. So other than that, I have this amulet, and this is the amulet I imprinted. And with this, I have the earthquake that comes with the leap. So that's like the most enhanced leap I have right now. I feel like that's the most optimal version. Is to have your skills doing extra, or your build doing extra damage or passive damage and things like that. So this makes the earthquake, and the earthquake, when you leap and there's like it look like the ground's pummeling, and if you're standing in it and things like that, you get extra damage or take less damage, things like that, or deal more damage. So this is the build I have running currently, man. As you can see, my attack power is 2300, armor 4300, life 17, strength 402, intelligence 173, willpower 114, dexterity 214. This, if you go to your character and click LN or whatever, the left stick, it'll pull up this stats and what you have, materials and things. And it tell you what they do also, if you did not know. Increasing your strength increases skill damage by 40%, and it increases your armor. Intelligence increases resistance to elements. Willpower allows you to increase your resource generation, whether, I don't know, the other classes use like mana and things like that. For the Barbarian is Fury, and he generates Fury by attacking or getting hit confirms. This improves your healing, and it also improves your overpower damage with willpower. Dexterity allows you to have higher chance of critical strike and a higher chance to dodge enemy attacks. So there you go. All this just tells you about your offensive skills and where you're at, how much damage you do to certain enemy types while doing whatever. You got damage while berserking, bleeding, injured, healthy, close, stunned. So as you can see, I said I had a lot of stun going on. So my stun build does extra 81% damage while I'm dealing with stunned enemies, close enemies, injured enemies. I don't have much for bleeding, as you can see, and berserking. Those seem to be my highest targets. Okay, here they explaining Thorns. Deal damage to attackers when hit by direct attacks. Excludes attacks that are entirely damaged over time. Damage dealt is affected by the skill damage increase from your strength. Okay, so Thorns just add extra damage over time. Okay, bet. Maximum life, blah, 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 blah. All right. So that's where we at with that. Next, we have, I haven't tried to increase any more of these, as I really only play with this. And the skill that's attached to it, the expertise, allows me to gain fury. And what else is in this technique? Gain fury while berserking. I had one for stun damage. Dun, 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 dun. Increase damage in double amount when using 2 maces. Yeah. I had to progress this one, and it was just really hard to progress the one-handed mace. I still want that skill, but for now, I'm gonna just keep it where I got it. And it's my Paragon board. So I have it more completely filled, y'all. So here we go. For the Paragon board, I started with strength. I went this way. I got this buff right here where I get 20% more physical damage, 4% maximum life. I also got another little buff, strength buff or something after that from the nodes. I have this to get 8% maximum life plus 100 armor plus another 4% maximum life or whatever. I'm running the glyph right now that uses weapon mastery skill to reduce the cooldown by 2 seconds. I was just trying this one out. The weapon mastery would be the death blow, but I'm gonna change this glyph. No, I'm gonna leave it because I've been doing nightmare dungeons, and when you do nightmare dungeons, you can actually upgrade the glyphs. Yeah, I just learned that. So look, you see how the glyphs say level 1, like all these yellow level 1, level 1, level 1. So the glyphs can actually become stronger as you get nightmare sigils and do nightmare dungeons. They give you points that awaken your glyphs and allow them to become stronger. So you can use these points on your glyphs or whatever glyphs you have socketed to increase their effectiveness. So I'm trying to see if increasing this will allow my weapon mastery skills to have an even shorter cooldown. If I could get Death Blow to have additional charges and shorter cooldown, I feel like that'll be the most optimal. Unless there's some aspects and things that allow me to attach elements or fire or, something special to the that. If I could just get more charges and less cooldown, that'll be best for this build. And I'm trying to see if that's what we'll get. So let me get off this. And next, I'm at the board selection where I have to attach a new piece of the Paragon board. And with that, you have 8 different boards you can choose from. Now, each board has a different legendary node and rare nodes. and you're attaching this board to build based on how you want to progress your character. Now, I don't know if I'm able to, or if I'm going to actually end up going through all 8. I don't know how the game's set up, but it might be. But I think just it's based off how you do it, how you progress. So to keep your build optimal and not working on something crazy. Um, so this one says, okay, we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna attach my board gate with you guys. I left it just for that, just so I can explain it to you or go over it. Um, this one's called Hemorrhage, and what does it come with? I get extra damage over time. Get damage reduction from bleeding enemies. Plus 10 strength. I get poison resistance. I get more bleeding damage. I get damage over time reduced. Okay, enemies that have been affected by your bleeding for 3 or more seconds take 12% increased damage from you. Now I have a piece of bleed in my build with this weapon here. I have a piece of bleed in my build where if I'm berserk and I deal damage, it causes them to bleed for 5 seconds. Now that would tie in with this, like anybody bleeding for more than 3 seconds, they take more damage. My bleed lasts for 5 at least. So this could be good if I want to keep this bleed type of build going. Let me see what we got next. Blood Rage. Killing a bleeding enemy has 10% chance to grant berserking for 5 seconds. I like that because I also have a berserker build. So if I have someone bleeding, I have a 10% chance to go berserk for 5 seconds. 10% chance, not a lot, but these things happen often while you're fighting. So you fight 12 enemies at a 10% chance. You probably gonna go berserk in 5 seconds. For 5 seconds. The nodes in this one restore maximum life, increase berserking duration and damage reduction from enemies that are bleeding, damage to bleeding enemies, fire resistance, and more damage to elites and bleeding enemies. I like this with the blood and the berserking. Next we have Carnage. Carnage, while berserking, critical strikes increase your attack speed by 2 up to 8% for 6 seconds. So this allows me to have increased attack speed and while getting critical strikes while berserking. So I like the extra attack speed, but I have enough. I don't really. Let me see what else they got. Cold resistance is good. The ice on this game is OP, as well as the poison. I get more berserker damage, plus more damage to elites while berserking. I get damage while berserking. I get damage reduction from close enemies. I get life while not damaged recently. I think I like Carnage. I like all the increased berserking. So we're gonna see what else. Decimator. Two-handed slashing weapon attacks have up to 8 chance to make enemies vulnerable. I don't really have a vulnerable build. Y'all can see the stats. I don't want to read through this as I do not care. Demolish, vulnerable damage, arrogance allows me to have more strength and damage reduction to vulnerable enemies. So it seemed like this one is just about vulnerability. I don't have nothing built around vulnerability. I have mine built more around stun. So I'm not really happy about that. All right, Bone Breaker. This one allows your two-handed bludgeoning weapons to stun enemies for a second and grant you 20% of your maximum life as fortify. That's pretty good. I use the two-handed bludgeoning weapon a lot. That's the mace. That is this weapon here. It's a two-handed mace. This one on my back. That weapon. That allows me to overpower and stun enemies and gain fortify. So this build look like it's built around being fortified and overpowered damage. Yeah. 6 technique. One-handed weapon increases your critical strike chance by 1% for 2 seconds. I do not use one-handed weapons. This will not help me. Okay. Warbinger. For every 75 fury I spend, I gain my life back as fortify. This looks like another fortify type build. It also gives me extra fury. And weapons master, swapping weapons grants you 3 fury. I only swap between 2 weapons, but either way, a swap is a swap. This gives me increased physical damage, increased armor, increased strength. After killing an elite, I get extra movement speed. I do extra damage to elites. I have extra attack speed and extra physical damage. I have resistance to all elements and lightning. I like Weapon Master, and I also liked one of these bleeding builds. I like this one for the poison resistance. Oh man, the poison on this game is crazy. It's crazy. Physical damage over time, damage to bleeding enemies, da da da. Now if I pick this bleed build, I have to keep the bleed in my build going. I've been liking the bleed, to be honest. So I may go with one of these. I like the one with the gaining the health back and the berserker duration. This is the critical attack speed. I like the extra attack speed in this one. I'm gonna go at one of these bleeds though. Maybe the one with the poison as well. It's either berserk or bleed. I like this one. So yeah, you get to choose from these boards though, and I think you do eventually have to use each board. You just get to choose which side you start from for your build. That's what it's looking like. Yeah, elite damage and shit like that. Alright, bet. So man, that's the build up until now. This is where I'm at level 57. I'll be giving you guys another update when I get to level 60. Until then, I will be updating and doing these nightmare dungeons to give you guys to increase my Paragon board, as well as get this Renown to get these bonuses to also increase my skills in Paragon board. So that's what we're working on, guys, man. I hope this video has been informational and helpful for you with this Barbarian. Now I'm just gonna go provide you guys I'm gonna provide you guys with some gameplay of this build and how effective it is. So I'm gonna do a nightmare dungeon. I'm gonna do a nightmare dungeon for you guys. This one has frost damage. This one has lightning damage. Alright, bet. Alright, so you just go to your inventory, go to consumables, and just use one of these affixes. And they have to turn it into a nightmare dungeon. They already have the dungeon that it is, that it'll turn into. You can't turn any dungeon, but the sigil changes the dungeon as soon as you press use. So I'm gonna head to this dungeon. I'm gonna go show you these skills I just explained, and I'm gonna show you the solo potential of Barbarian. And you know how it goes, man. If you ever watched any of the other videos, you know that if I don't die, you have to subscribe. That's the rules. If I don't die, you gotta subscribe. If I don't die, you gotta subscribe. That's the rules. All right, bet. If I do die, leave a comment. Leave a comment. You feel me? Leave a comment if I do die. If I don't die, you gotta subscribe. We gotta slay all the enemies. Okay. I'm cool with that. This is a nightmare dungeon solo, y'all. So this is a little more challenging than a regular dungeon. So that's where we at with it. I found a treasure goblin in here before. right. I know they say it's harder to get XP while you're soloing, but they have ways around the XP. Like even with these consumables, each one of them gives you extra experience for 30 minutes. So with that extra experience for 30 minutes, you know what I'm saying, that could help. So you could just use one or two of these things just for the benefit. That was too easy with the shrine. I don't know why they gave me that shrine buff. Solo dungeon, man. Nightmare dungeon. You use a Nightmare Sigil. It turns the dungeon to a Nightmare dungeon. And it allows you to upgrade your Paragon board glyphs. Okay, now I gotta slay the high priest. Okay. Cool. Sure. All right. All right. So after beating the Nightmare dungeon, you get 2 pieces of equipment, and then you get to upgrade a glyph. Let's see what happens when I upgrade it. It still leaves it at 2 seconds, so I think off the strength of that, I switch this glyph. I wanted more of a cooldown. But man, there you go, man. Build explained. Remember, subscribe to Jet Setter's gaming channel for more gaming content. This is JSG King. I'm signing out. Hope you enjoyed the info on the build. And if you're building it yourself, I hope you enjoy the build. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm.